Good evening. Welcome. My name is Kwabena. Welcome. I want to share with you briefly what I call emotional maturity and business success. Emotional maturity and what it will help in your business, the success that we may see or enjoy. There are a lot of happenings. There are a lot of difficulties, challenges. There are a lot of things that you will meet in the course of you building that business that you are building. There will be a lot of things that will take some kind of toll on your strength, especially on your emotions. So there will be a lot of things that you may have to handle emotionally for the business to work out well, for the business to succeed. And so there is a certain link between business success and the kind of emotional maturity that those who are behind the business have, the kind of decisions that they'll make. They happen to affect the success of the business. I think most people will agree that it takes a lot of strength to pick an idea and to turn that idea into a business and hopefully into a successful business, a business that you can employ at least some people, a business that you can build beyond yourself. There is some level of emotional maturity that is required, especially for those who are behind the business, those who are directing the business. The self-esteem level of those who are handling the business is very much important, particularly at the beginning. How confident they are, how they see themselves, how they carry themselves is very much important to the success of the business. As a matter of fact, they say that people who have the tendency to start business have some level of confidence to try something and to be ready to fail. They have some level of confidence and courage to challenge the status quo, to challenge the thing that they have seen. They have some level of confidence to say that, okay, I think that I can create something for myself. Emotional maturity is needed in this sense. If your emotions are fragile and if the maturity is not, if the maturity is not there, you will not take risk. If the self-esteem is not there, the courage to take risk will not be there. That is why you can see that there are certain cultures, there are certain people, there are people who are coming from certain cultures who happen to have that kind of tendency to start businesses. What we probably sometimes don't look at is that a lot of those people from those cultures have some kind of self-esteem, even if it's Sometimes they are wrongly accused as being arrogant and proud. But whether he's informed or he's not informed, that kind of self-esteem is what is pushing a lot of them to try to make life for themselves. To try to make life for themselves. And so it has some level of connection to do with emotional maturity. You're going to deal with a lot of things in your business, and a certain level of confidence is needed. And so if you come from a background where you were not brought up, if you are coming from a culture, if you're coming from a family where you were not brought up to be assertive, at least to say what is on your mind, to challenge something, to challenge the status quo, to have some level of confidence, uh, you may not be able to survive the business journey, because you would want to consult everybody, and you will be very much uncomfortable with things that are associated with failure, and that are associated with mistakes, and that are associated with controversy, and things that will not be welcomed easily by the majority of the people, will not be attractive to people who are coming from homes, cultures where their self-esteem, was not built. So emotional maturity has a lot to do with business success, a lot to do with that. Even how you confront problems has some level of maturity in terms of emotions. How you challenge the status quo, how you even communicate, they have a lot to do with your emotions, and how mature and how connected you are with your emotions. If you're not emotionally present and mature, you tend not to, take into considerations the, the consequences of your choices on others. You tend to be so much, what should I say? Sometimes you don't care what really affects people, because you're not sure of your own emotions and connections. And so the more mature somebody is in terms of emotions, the more they tend to have some level of delays in terms of gratifications. So when you are mature emotionally and they give you money, you're not thinking of going to buy, kelewele with that money. The people who get money and they spend it right there, it's because the maturity, emotions are not there. When the emotions are not that strong, when they are not mature, we waste resources, we waste money a lot. If you see the people who spend a lot of money and get into a lot of trouble, especially the personal expenditures, it's because they are not able to handle their emotions that much. And business success has a lot to do with finances, and how you're able to keep some level of discipline with the finances. So let's say the business started to do well, and you started to see 100,000, 200,000. If you're not emotionally mature, if you're not emotionally stable, the moment you start to see money, you want to prove to the other people who ever doubted that your business will ever succeed, that you have arrived, that you now have a business. And so you would go and buy big car, you go and rent big office, build big office. You would want to let the business be flamboyant, even though the revenue to the business may not, the revenue may not support the business. But because our emotions are not that mature, we would want to just be wasteful. And so emotional maturity has a lot to do with the business success. Emotional maturity has a lot to do with your success, especially in terms of the finances and the discipline. People who are able to hold their their the edge to prove their worth to people are people who are mature or have some level of maturity in terms of emotions. There are people who are quick to let people understand or to let people see how much they have acquired, how much success that they have had, how much big they are. There are people who are very much uncomfortable when some people, look down upon them or gloss over their achievement, because for them there is a hole somewhere that must be filled. There's an ego somewhere that must be, you know, taken care of, and they have to, let people know who they are. Have you ever met somebody who would ever, would tell you, and it's very common, that do you know me? Do you know who I am? Do you know who knows me? If you are quick to let people know who you are and what you stand for, what position that you have in society, it means that your emotions fluctuate. You are not mature yet. Some people, you should be able to have self, you should be able to bring yourself down. You should be able to be comfortable with people taking you for granted and overlooking at who you are and treating you like nothing, and you still are stable, because those things have a lot to do with the decisions that you're going to make with your business. They have a lot. Business success or failure, the things that you succeeded in business are things that you discipline yourself to make the right decisions. And usually, the things that you were quick, you know, let's say the loans that you took, where you did not do the sampling, you did not do anything, you just, you could not keep your emotions. Once the bank told you that they will give you 1 million cedis, you couldn't sleep. You didn't do any calculation. You didn't look at the project. You didn't look at the business, if it was sustainable. You could not even go back to say that, let me go and think of it. Or somebody proposed an idea to you. Right away, you go ahead to do it, because you have the edge to prove your success to people. And so emotional maturity is very much important. And we are coming from a culture where a lot of our trainees have not helped us to be emotionally stable and mature. Very few of us, our ideas, our thoughts, our intelligence, and our wisdom were ever sought after when we were growing up. We were still being told that we were children. In our culture here, even when people have married, they still tell them that they are children. The setup. So, and I think that they have a certain way of affecting how we carry ourselves. So business success has a lot to do with emotional maturity. Your respect for other people, the level of respect that you can have for other people has a lot to do with your emotional maturity. And if you are not respectful to people, you cannot attract the best of people to work with. So you can see that the boss who is always angry and shouting and breaking the glass and sacking people at any time, insulting people, is the one who is likely to go through a lot of challenges with the business, because he can make any decision when he's angry. He can just jump and just say anything he wants. Then later on, when he's calmed down, he would want to apologize, because the emotional maturity is not handled. So people who are very much stable emotionally are able to make good choices and decisions. And those choices, because you are making a lot of decisions and choices in your business, and the average, they are affecting the success of the business. Your maturity will be seen in how you handle time as well. How conscious you are with time that you're handling, whether you're wasting time, whether you're able to follow through appointment, whether you're able to follow through engagements, the things that you say you're going to do. If you're able to follow through those things, it means that you're aware of yourself, because then when you're giving yourself schedules, because you know the kind of person you are, you would want to give yourself the things that you can go by. So emotional maturity is very much important to the success of the business that you're going to do, or the business that you're doing. Countries families suffer because of this. Nations even suffer because of that. Because if there are countries that their citizens are very much, disciplined in terms of savings, so they save money, they can keep money for a long time because they've been trained to be mature. They can live with little. They've been trained to be resourceful. They've been trained to be, if you go through communities, countries, tribes, race that are doing well, that are more prosperous, that are more, successful, there's something in the culture that has made the people to be able to take care of their emotions. They are not quick to waste money and to waste resources. They have learned how to keep their anger in control. They have learned how to keep appointments and how to even efface themselves. Sometimes you can see a whole president and he's walking somewhere and he doesn't care whether somebody calls him a president or calls him his first name because they are stable. When you are emotionally mature, you believe in who you are. You're stable in who you are. You're comfortable in who you are. And because of that, you extend it to other people as well. You don't classify yourself with positions. And that's what you bring to your business. So when people come to work with you, even though you are the managing director, even though you are the founder of the business, you still are able to calm down and to mingle and to form relationship with everybody in the business because you are comfortable with who you are. It's not your insistence on how people address you and how people regard you and the fear that you create when you are present. Those are not the real you. The real you is how much comfortable you are with yourself, and how you can extend it to anybody. Anybody, whether they are cleaner, whether they are the finance manager, anybody at all can be comfortable in your presence because you are emotionally stable, you're emotionally mature. And when you're emotionally mature and stable, when there are challenges, when there are difficulties, when there are troubles, you're able to be stable. You get stable to deal with the situation. You don't panic because business is going to have a lot of troubles anyway. And so if you are hysterical, if you are erratic, if you vacillate, uh, people cannot depend on you. Especially people cannot depend on you when there are difficult situations to handle. And that's where you are needed as a leader. So emotional maturity is also needed for you to lead the business, for you to go through the turbulence and everything that businesses will bring anyway. So if you are immature, you will panic, you will break, you will shout, you will do all kind of things that are childish because you have not grown. There's one thing growing in age. There's another thing growing emotionally. And when they talk of maturity, as a matter of fact, they are talking of emotional maturity, where you are able to be stable, can be dependent upon, you can be relied upon. You can be sure that no matter the troubles that are coming, you'll be stable to deal with the situation. So you will keep the respect that people have for you, and you will give the respect that people do. When there are things that have to be trashed out, there are things that have to be discussed, you will still keep your emotions in control and discuss them. If people may have offended you, challenged you, fought you, disagreed with you, but you can still separate the main issues that have to be done from the head and from the disagreement and from the pain. Because every day there will be issues like that. And if you focus more on that which is personal, that which is important to you as an individual, the ego that has been bruised, the feeling that has been hurt, if you focus on them, the business will not grow, it will stagnate, it will suffer. Your ability to separate those and put things in perspective will have huge impact on the business because every now and then there will be issues like that. So your maturity The real maturity is not just in age. It's not that because you're now 19 years. It's not that because you're now 35 years. But did you grow in terms of your emotions, in terms of your self-esteem, in terms of your ability to bring out your thoughts for people to understand, in terms of how well you organize things, the discipline that you can acquire or you have developed in terms of how you handle the finances of the business. Those are all important, especially when there are troubles. Let's say let's say there are, let's say business debt is there. Your ability to be stable and to handle the finances and know who to pay and who not to pay, and to keep your credibility and to look at the future of the business. So much important. Some people will break and panic and run away because they owe. The company owes people, or they owe. There is debt. Or when there is non-payment of project. If you're not stable, if you're not mature. And this one has nothing to do with I'm 70 years or I'm 50 years. It has a lot to do with emotional maturity, how well you are of it, and how well you have grown in it. If you have mature emotionally, you're able to tame pain. You're able to handle pain. You're able to keep that which, you're able to delay things that can make you happy. If you start a business, for instance, before, if you had to go to party everywhere, now you cannot go to party everywhere because you have to build a business, at least until it's successful. So people who are mature can say that now I cannot go to the parties. If I was going to party 3 times a month, now maybe I would have to look at one time in a month and focus on this dream to build it well. If you're not mature, you will think that, oh, I can do all these things and I can still build the business. And that's why the business will not succeed. That's why the business will not succeed. The other thing that you can see among people who are mature emotionally is that they don't hide their feeling to appreciate the things that they are good at and the things that other people are good at. If you have grown much in terms of the emotions, you are not disturbed when somebody else is being given some accolades or some props or some, you are not disturbed because you know what you're good at and you know what other people are good at. And when people are with you, they are very much comfortable because you are stable. You are stable. You are who you are. You know what your life is about. So when you see somebody do something, you can be inspired, but it's not like you're disturbed and worried and jealous because you're stable in your emotions. And you have that tendency to be grateful and thankful as well for life and for people who have contributed to something, to where you have become or what you have become as an individual. Now, the more you express that, the more you're able to express that to people who work with you, to your partners, to your employees, and to even your suppliers. Anybody who has a link with you. If you are mature like that, you are able to express how grateful you are for the help and for the privilege of working with all kind of you know people like that and the contribution that they have made to the success of the business. The thing about human beings is that they are complex people. So when they are with you and you don't show anything like they have made any contribution, all kind of thoughts and all kind of things come to their head. That's why companies that do well, that people are very much happy to work with, these are the things that they are very good at. They establish an environment where people feel that they matter and that their contributions are felt and needed and that they make a difference. When you're mature in terms of your emotions, you think of that and you think of, always trying to let the people know how much they have done for the successes of the business. And that's how you can get the best of people to work with you for a long time. A lot of people those who work for a long time, at companies and those who happen to have options, most of it is not just the money. It's just how well they feel treated at where they work. If you let's say if they pay you big money but they are insulting you every day, you are not appreciated, they don't care about you, they treat you like an animal, even though they pay you well. If you get an option with less money but they treat you well, you opt out. Because human beings, even though the money is needed, they still have their other need, which is the appreciation, the welcomeness that people, they feel like they're part of it, they're making contribution to this business. And if you have that as a business owner, if you have that as a business leader, you tend to have the best of people to work with you. You're able to build a strong team because you are aware of your emotions as a business leader. And so business success has a lot to do with emotional, Can you be depended upon? Can you be counted upon? Can they depend on you? Can they trust your word? Can they, be confident that when there is trouble, the boss will stay and handle it, or the boss will be erratic and they will not know what the boss will say. So success in business has a lot to do with your emotional stability. You tend to be very much positive and optimistic of life. When you're mature in your emotions, you're very much optimistic, you're very much positive. You look at the hope in every situation, you have a lot of faith, and you have a lot of energy to exert to get to your dreams. And because you're experiencing or expressing this optimism, yes, the negatives, the oppositions, the challenges may be there, but your energy is so high that those things don't really mean so much to you, and they don't stop you. If you're emotionally stable and mature, you are ready to go through whatever you have to go through to get to the dreams and to your goals. And it doesn't matter how many times you go at it. If you have worked on your emotions, no failure is able to break you. No failure is able to stop you. Yes, you may feel hurt, you may feel the pain, but tomorrow is another day. You get up and you continue to be, going after your dreams, after the business, because that's you have taken time over this while to build this maturity. you know so if you're not aware of it, and if you are not aware how much it contributes to the success of your business, you may just take it for granted. But the moment you become aware of it, it plays a major role as to what your business can become, and how you can build a thriving business, a business that you're proud of, a business that you can say that I did this and I did it well. you know if you're mature, um, you're able to read through the lines a lot of the times, because you have a certain level of understanding. The people, the crooks, when they come, you will see them, because you're aware. You're able to detect. You're able to study people. You're able to study the way people talk, the way people behave. When they are coming and they have dressed the story, they have dressed the deal so well, you'll be able to read through the lines because you look at them. Because you are stable and you are not just when you're mature, you are patient. When you're mature, you are tactful. When you're mature, you are not in haste to get profit. When you're mature, you are not selfish. You are not just aggressively looking for the money anyway, anyhow. So anybody starts to bundle any business and they try to trick you for you to buy into it, if they get you, they're able to trick you. Like contractors, every now and then you get a phone call and they will tell you that they have a project somewhere and meet them for them to give you. After a while, if you have mature, you will know that that's not how it is done. Nobody says someone to call you for a project. But if you're not mature and you are greedy, most of us, they will get us because you are greedy. We are looking for money. And we want to get the money anyway, anyhow. It's not because some people will say, no, why didn't they call everybody, but they called me? If they're able to scam you, if they're able to take your money, if they're able to screw you, lie to you, defraud you, somewhere in between, you were greedy. You were greedy. So you were not stable in your emotions. It was tempting and it overcame your age. You know, it overcame your age. They said that no, this one sounds so true to be true. So I don't think that is how anybody will give you any business like that. So I would want to go through the doing process. When you're mature, you understand that it takes processes to build anything. But when you are immature, you are in haste. Your emotions are not, when you are not mature in your emotions, you are in haste to get ahead. You are in haste to become rich. You are in haste to succeed. And so you cannot see well. But when you have grown, you know that a lot of achievements in this life are a product of hard work, of diligence, of honesty. You know that a lot of achievements in this world come because you took the right step and you stay with the process. So emotional maturity has a lot to do with business success. They were able to trick us because we're not mature, we're not stable. We were just looking for to succeed, so we had little data to work with. And usually when you take those parts, it put you in delay. Business success is one step. It's a momentum being built, one step at a time, one step at a time. You're building it, and you have a defined path that you're going. When you don't have a plan, you just want money anyway, anyhow. You will go after anybody who proposes anything to you because you have not sat down to define yourself. You don't know your strength. You don't know what you're looking for out of this business. And anybody at all can throw anything at you and you follow it. And that is why a lot of people delay in their success in terms of their business because they did not have clear definition of who they were and did not have clear definition of what they wanted out of the business. And that's why you are trying everything. Anybody shows you anything and you follow them because you did not have the maturity. When you're mature or when you grow to a certain level of maturity, you are ready to go through the processes. When somebody bundles anything and throws them at you, you are able to look at it and say that no, I'm not interested. No matter how juicy they seem, no matter how flamboyant, they will make you 100, they will make you billionaire in a day. You look at them and you think twice because you have matured now. You have grown. You are stable. You are not afraid to go through the processes. You are not quick to impress anybody. Because what people think, yes, good, but that's not what you're making your decisions on. Because you're emotionally stable. You know yourself. But if you're unstable, if you're immature, you cannot carry your emotions, and you create chaotic situations. You will waste the money in a minute. You will cut the relationship in a minute. You will lie and change your tongue in the next minute. Why? Because you cannot deal with pain. You cannot deal with struggle. You cannot stay with the process because you are emotionally immature. You are emotionally immature. So emotional maturity is very much important. And yet in our culture and the way we've been brought up, you have got to do extra mile to grow yourself emotionally. You can grow with the age as they are being now. 2018 is just around the corner to go. 2019 will come, another year will come, but it does not mean that you're growing emotionally. And if you're not growing like that, your business probably is also not growing because the culture of the business is built by you, and the growth that you have is the growth that the culture of the business will have. And the growth of the business is the growth of the culture that you have built. So if the culture is built where people can be assertive, people can be open, and it's built on honesty and credibility, respect, where people are goal-oriented, they solve problems, they are disciplined, they are ethical. If it's built like that, it's coming because you built yourself, you grew yourself. And that's why you've been able to build a business like that. If you were not mature, you will not be able to build a business culture which is mature. So you will see that the business will always struggle. It is doing well the next day, the next minute it starts to go down. Doing well the next day, the next minute it starts to go down because you have not matured as a business leader yourself. You don't know yourself, you don't know how to communicate the vision, and you don't know how to talk to people. You don't know how to solve problems, and you don't know how to be disciplined and delay the urge to spend and waste money. You don't know how not to worry so much about making people happy and trying to prove that you have reached somewhere to people who don't even care about you. You become wasteful when you are quick to tell people that you have succeeded. Become wasteful when you are quick to compete with people. If you are not mature emotionally, when your friend buys something, you want to go and buy the same thing because you're competing with them. When your friend buys shoe, you want to do the same thing. They move their business office to another place, you want to do. They enter another business. They go into mining. You are doing some business, so you don't even understand it well. Your friend starts to go into mining. The next minute, you are also going into money. You become competitive when you're a child. You equivocate. You compare. You challenge. And they are all trivia, even at the personal level. You just want to outperform one another in things that are not even important because you're not mature. Because you're not mature. When you are mature, you stay with a vision. You stay. Yes, you can look at what they are doing, you're inspired, but you know that you have a plan and you have focus. Those who are mature emotionally, they focus. They have a plan. They are not quick to impress you. They understand. And they live life out of freedom. They live life out of their freedom. You can see that they are at peace with themselves. They are at peace. They are not fidget. They don't fidget. They are at peace. They are at rest. Their word is their bond because they have grown to know the impact of commitment. Saying that I will be there and they will be there. Saying that I will pay and they will pay. Because it's a process they have grown to mature emotionally. So it's not that, no, I said it, but I can do it. It's not like that. They have grown to overcome that. And because of those things, because of those characteristics, because of those things that they do, that's why the business that they're involved in is succeeding. Because they're emotionally stable. They're emotionally stable. And you can see that they have very much, huge respect for people and for people they work with. Generally, they are very, good people. They are kind. They are respectful. And you can see that those things emanate from them. It's infectious. When you're with them, you can see they are relaxed because it's maturity. And it took time for them to develop that. It doesn't come just because you're growing in age. It comes because you made the effort to grow. And these things, not only in business, they are in your personal life, they are in your marriage, they are everywhere. When you're mature, you take the consideration. You take others into consideration, you respect others, and you appreciate and you take time to treat people as they should be treated. You're appreciative and grateful, and you're very much optimistic. And it can be seen in how orderly you are with the things that you do. And you pay attention to things that are important, not things that are not important. So emotional maturity is very much critical and important, and they affect the successes of the business. So when you see businesses that are doing well, those are that are truly not the false ones, those that have grown from one stage to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. Go and see the people who are behind it. They have this. They are stable, or they have grown to be stable. They have grown to become stable in their mind, in their emotions. They are stable, and they practice these things that we have talked about. They practice them, and they are not in haste to impress you. They know that they can grow according to the plan that they have. Emotional maturity. And if you don't have it, you may have to look at how to develop it. Because the journey of business is tough. And if you are emotionally unstable, immature, it can kill you, can destroy you. If you want to impress people, I know people who want to impress. Every little thing is big achievement to them because they have not found themselves. When you're emotionally mature, you have found yourself, found your strength, and you have found your weakness. So you can be trusted. You can be trusted that when things are difficult, you will not break, you will not back up. You will stand and take the heat. You continue to take the heat. That's maturity. Maturity is your ability to take responsibility. Take responsibility for the errors and take responsibility for the errors of the others. The mistakes that everybody else is making in the business, you will take responsibility for that because you're mature now. You're stable. You can be trusted and you can be dependent upon. You will not just flip and change your mind, even though you said that you were going to do it. Because if you're mature, then you know that the decisions and the things that you do to others, they mean a lot to you. Credibility becomes important to you. You don't want the one destroying people. You don't want to be the one cheating and lying and taking people for granted because you become conscious. It hits you. You become, you're paying attention to how you are treating people because you have become mature emotionally. So thank you very much for watching, and take time to develop that. It works well and it helps. It makes life, enjoyable as well. So take time to work on it. Work on your self-esteem. Work on how you solve problems and communicate with others. And look at financial discipline. How you're able to delay, the urge to spend and to waste money. You take care of that. And you're able to respect and talk to people well. Your promptness to time. You're able to order things around you, make things orderly around you, and you're able to appreciate and be thankful for others, and you're full of optimism and positivity. You don't just say that it can be. You're full of that hope, faith, because you know that it can be, and you're patient. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you.